Hey guys, so I'm going to start recording some conversation videos for those of you that are interested in learning a little bit more, getting some insight into why we do what we do at the gym. We're recording them, so we obviously feel like they're important. And so I'm going to encourage you guys at different times to watch this, but you can also just check back in on our YouTube channel here, and so that you can get this information. The first, it's probably not the necessarily the starting place, but one of the things that I've been noticing in the gym recently is people doing more work than they need to be doing. And so I want to kind of address that, chat about it a little bit, and explain why you shouldn't be and how that is. There's a couple of reasons for it. So I want to just gonna put that out there. But when we come to class, like there's a workout written on the board, you see it, you either come up with your own game plan for how you want to modify and scale for the day. It's highly likely that a coach has already shared their game plan for you with you in that setting. And that could be swapping out movements, lowering the volume of the amount of work that we're doing, or reps of a particular movement. And so all of that is coming up with a game plan for you that helps to reach the stimulus of what we're trying to do for the day. Um, if you've been with us even for just a couple months, this is a concept that you'll come to know and learn, part of the CrossFit space. So each workout has an intention of what we're trying to accomplish. And even if we can't do the movements as written, we're trying to come up with the equivalent of that for you. Um, Couple things happen when you don't stick to the game plan. I think more times than not, the reason that people end up doing more work, there's probably two reasons. One, you don't have a system in class for tracking what you're doing and how you're doing it throughout the workout, right? That's what the whiteboards are for. And so if we're doing rounds of work, putting some tick marks on the board and wiping them off when you get there can be great, or using a piece of chalk on the floor and making a tick mark when you've completed a round. So sometimes that comes from just not paying attention to where we're at in our movements, and we just don't recognize where we're at in the workout. Part of your job is to not only do the movements, but is to pay attention to what you're doing. And that's a huge piece of the workout itself. And sometimes that is the hard part. It's not doing the workout per se, it's keeping yourself oriented and tracking what you're doing. And if that is you, that is a huge opportunity for growth in the gym. And it does transfer over to life. Like, we don't just go until somebody else intervenes and tells us to stop. We're doing things with an intention, and there's purpose behind what we're doing, right? So that's no different in the gym. If that is you and you're like, I don't intentionally do more work, I just don't know where I'm at and what I'm doing, have a conversation with a coach. We have a lot of great ideas on helping you orient that. We've gotten probably better, I would say, with tracking rounds and reps and where we're at on a big level. One of the things that we're starting to see in our programming as of this past week is higher volume workouts where we're doing 40 reps of something, and then we had a workout that was 40, 30, 20, 10. And so sometimes it's not about what round are we in or what round are we on, but have I done 10 of these, 12 of these, 18 of these? And so that's another layer and a next layer for many of you in how to come up with a game plan for the workout. One of the things we talked about in class was we don't just go until we can't go, set the movement down, and then pick it up and go again. You want a little bit of a game plan and a strategy for helping you navigate the workout, right? We don't just dive headfirst in. And so with a movement that has 40 reps, maybe what we put on our board is 5/8. So when you finish 8 reps, you wipe an 8 off. And then that is also your rest. And then you do 8 more and you wipe it off. And the next thing you know that you've done 40 reps because your numbers are gone. So there's, again, different ways to track that. But if this feels like something you're more challenged with, I am going to in turn challenge you to make that a focus in the gym over the next few weeks, month. Just make it part of what you're trying to learn and grow and expand on. And it is something that does translate to how we approach things in life outside of the gym. That's my invitation to you. The other reason we don't want to do more is it skews your current level of fitness for us as coaches as well. And so part of our goal, if we're not doing the RX prescribed version of the workout, our goal as coaches is to move you towards that. And so if we have a 15-minute workout and you finish it in 9, what that tells us is we could have made something else harder. You don't necessarily need more work in that moment. What we need to do is figure out how to challenge you so that you're not done 6 minutes early. And if you keep working because you're done early and you notice that everyone else is still moving, we don't know that that is where you're at. And it's also a question of volume. Not everything is a high volume day. And so it is, if you do an extra round or two, you're now completely changing the workout for yourself and what we're trying to do. A couple things to say about that. I think most people, when they keep working, it's because they notice the people around them are still working. And they're like, oh, like maybe I didn't do enough, or maybe or they're still working. So let me get a few more practice reps in. It's counterproductive to what we're trying to do in the gym. So I would say definitely don't. And if you're someone who it's because you feel like you should have done more, could have done more, you don't like standing around while other people are finishing, the layers of that are complex and they have very little to do with fitness and have more to do with probably your own headspace in some ways, and learn to be okay being done. Learn to find some stillness on the other side of all of the movement. If it's challenging for you, that's another area that we can lean into. And it's very likely that outside of the gym setting, you have a hard time sitting still and being still and all of those things, which is fine. But it's an opportunity for you to be okay with that. And to play advocate, I would also say that just because someone is still moving does not mean that they are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Sometimes we don't scale or modify enough. And so we end up bumping up against a time gap. That doesn't mean that they've necessarily done anything wrong, but your read on that is, oh, I should have done more. I could have done more. And I would say, I would argue that in a lot of situations, like for the person that is time capping all the time, we should have done less or we should have done different. And you don't have that information, right? All you have is you in a room watching other people still working. But it's all important it's important to remember that you are in there for yourself. It's hard not to notice what other people are doing around you. But if you have a game plan, stick to your game plan. And in the same breath, if you are someone who is always bumping up against time caps, or you're getting time capped in workouts, and then you finish a workout early, celebrate that. We want to have good workouts. We want to celebrate the progress that we're making. It's not always about burn it down, high intensity all the time. This should be when you get to where you're finishing workouts more consistently, that is a huge win. And if we get to a place where we're doing that all the time and we're not really trying new things, then we get to have different conversations. But I say it a lot when we lift, right? Enjoy a good lifting day. If 80% feels light to you, don't make it harder, don't make it heavier. Enjoy the fact that you're having a good lifting day. The same is true for the Metcons and those high cardio things that we do as well. If you have a day where you finish early and you crush a workout, don't repeat that back on yourself of, oh, I should have done more, or I could have gone harder, or maybe I didn't scale right. Celebrate yourself, celebrate the win. We can have some conversation about it if you're curious. 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna tell you that that was awesome. And there are the occasional moments where we're like, we probably could have challenged that a little differently. But for the most part, that's not the case. That's, for lack of better terms, that's story you're telling yourself about how you think this should go. And it, like I said, if we as coaches are noticing that is consistently happening, we're going to come up with a new game plan to challenge you differently. And we can't do that if we don't know that's consistently where you're at. It's just something we've been noticing in the gym recently, and I wanted to draw some attention to it. If you watch this and you have questions or there's some nuance angles in that for you, let me know. If you are newer to us or newer in the gym, don't feel weird about finishing early. Our goal is to keep things pretty light and integrate you in as you get started, and we check in on recovery. But even for those of you that have been here a while, we're still checking in on recovery. If you are consistently finishing workouts 3 or 4 minutes early, but you're wrecked physically for the next couple days, there's still some area of growth and improvement that we can make that doesn't mean making the workouts harder. And so there's lots of angles to this. Everything that we are doing in here, as random as it feels sometimes, has a purpose and has a place. And part of that is you just showing up, working hard, stick to your game plan, trust the game plan. It will get you to where you're trying to get to. And yeah, celebrate the fact that you're doing well when you're doing well in the gym. It's nice to have those chapters and periods, because some days, some weeks, you may feel like things are just a little bit harder. So enjoy when it doesn't feel so hard. It doesn't always have to be pushing the edges. Like I said, if you have any questions as you watch this, curiosities, feel free to reach out to me, chat with Myra, chat with James, any of the coaches, and we'd love to talk you through it. But yeah, keep doing what you're doing and showing up and working hard.